Hey, what's up?
Oh, hey.
I wasn't expecting a no
Now,
intro.
now, now,
Yeah,
now, 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 now. You nailed it.
sometimes we don't have an intro. I'm Doug Kyed. This is Pat's Chat. We're a proud member of the CLNS Media Network. Make sure to subscribe to the Pat's Chat YouTube, to Patriots Press Pass YouTube, all those fun things. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. People are going to be so confused because, first of all, we podcasted like 45 times Super Bowl week and then we retired.
Yep.
Um,
Now
we
we're
didn't
back.
have an intro, and you sound like a completely different person right now. So, all things considered, it's a new podcast for all intents and purposes. Welcome to the first edition of Pat's Chat.
I have a different microphone than I usually use because I'm on the road. I am at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. I'm doing a standing podcast.
Yeah.
See?
I think your mic might be too far, actually.
Uh-oh. All
We
right.
have to
Well,
hold it.
maybe
Yeah.
I'll hold it. All right. This is gonna
But
be a really great podcast.
you don't sound different because of your microphone. You sound different because there's a gremlin living inside your nose that is suffocating the passages right now. It sounds crazy. Who is this?
I told you I've been sick since the day I got home from the Super Bowl, basically. I got home on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, I woke up with a sore throat, and I'm like better, but now I'm still feeling not 100%.
The Super Bowl, I believe, was February 8th.
It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I went to Disney World in between, so I don't think that helped.
brag. I hear
Um,
that Pluto he sheds viruses like a madman. So stay away from that. Too late now. But we did our first in person podcast
we
right
did.
before the onset of
Did you
your.
get sick?
I didn't.
Wow.
Thankfully, we didn't do my Steven Tyler, Joe Perry back to back move.
That would have caused an illness. But yeah, I'm at the NFL Scouting Combine. I've been here since Monday. I made it here because I flew straight from Orlando. Didn't have to fly to Boston like many other people did, and got kind of screwed in the process. So big ups to me on that one. But it's been an entertaining few days. We talked to Elliot Wolf. We talked to Mike Vrabel. We talked to both of those guys twice actually because they had their little podium sessions at the combine, and then they split off and did another session really right over where I'm standing right now, over by this cafe that's over my shoulder. And
Is there perhaps a Starbucks near there where there may be or may not be some media confrontations that live in lore?
the Starbucks is at the JW Marriott, which is pretty close to here, but a decent little walk. Been getting a solid like 15,000 steps a day, which has been great.
Nice. Right after
But
Disney, no less.
I know if I had done the podcast from the Starbucks, it would have been much louder, and I would have
Mm.
felt as though I was infringing on people's privacy
But
and work.
what if there was a confrontation right behind you during the podcast and we could live play by play it like boxing analysis.
That would have been great.
Analysts or analysts?
Analysts, analysts.
So I'll be
Um,
frank, Doug, how I'm coming into this podcast. You're the
yep.
professional journalist as usual. I have not been completely locked in on the scouting
Uh-oh.
combine. So our roles in this podcast, you
Yeah.
will tell me
I'm teaching
what.
you and everyone else.
Yeah, I play the role of the audience, saying, "Hey, Doug, what's going on there?" I've seen some clips, but I did not watch all of Rabel or Wolf.
Hmm.
I've seen little headlines that have come out, but I haven't dug in like I normally have. I've been otherwise distracted. So you're gonna have to treat me like a 5-year-old.
I think there's four big storylines here.
Okay.
Um, First of which is AJ Brown. Could the Patriots trade for AJ Brown? And Elliot Wolf was asked about it. Mike Vrabel was asked about it. Not a no from either side.
Yeah.
Seems like, I don't know, seems like it's at least possible. Seems like it's not out of the question that something like that could occur. Uh, Feels like it would take a little bit more than a DK Metcalf trade from last year, which I think the Steelers only have to give up a second round pick. But I don't think I don't think anyone would have to give up like two firsts or anything for AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So
Well, can I start with something that not enough people are talking about on that?
1000%, I want to hear your opinion.
Well, because I'm big on the AJ Brown. People keep asking what should they do, and I say AJ Brown. You can't get anyone else of that caliber. If you can get him, you can get him. If the Eagles trade him before June 1st, they take on a $43.4 million cap hit dead money, and I
Mm.
just don't know. Like sometimes teams do eat money, right? Like the Broncos ate the Russell Wilson money.
Yeah.
Uh, who else has had it? Like Aaron Rodgers might have had a big dead cap hit in New York,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It happens, but a presumable Super Bowl contender just swallowing 43 million dead cap hit
Right.
to get rid of a player who, like, yeah, is unhappy and maybe is a slight problem, but isn't Terrell Owens working out in his driveway
Right.
problems?
Yeah.
That's the part that makes me feel like it's unrealistic. And you can't really
Yeah.
do a post June 1st trade because then you're pushing your picks until next year. It just feels that part of it it's hard for me to wrap my head around that one.
The contract is a major issue in that one. And you're right. It is probably being under discussed because a trade would even subtract $20 million in cap space. So it's not only $43 million in dead cap, but like they would actually be subtracting cap
Yeah,
space
because
by
he's only a
doing this.
23.4 million hit.
Right. Yes.
That's
So
crazy.
it is. Yeah. He's only got a $1.3 million base salary. Like the salary aspect would be huge. Because like the Patriots would be acquiring him for like a very minimal salary overall. All the cap hits are like past signing bonuses and cash and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe there's smarter people who could possibly figure that out, but on the
Yeah.
surface, it makes something like that very difficult. But it would give you a number one wide receiver, which would be huge for the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't think there's any drawback in the Patriots. That like the one hurts, but you're also the 31st pick. So
Right.
it's sort of a two.
I really don't care about giving up the first round pick at all, I would say.
Well, I think it's important, but I think it's more important to get a number one receiver who you know would be the type of receiver you need to change that receiver room, the impact, someone to pair with Drake May, someone to be more of a
Right.
threat than what they have. And
Yeah.
could make the other guys that you have complementary to AJ Brown.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know. I mean, I think, listen, I don't want to hold Jalen Polk and Kyle Williams and N'Keal Harry and all these guys against the current front office because new people have been brought in, not since Kyle Williams, but since Jalen Polk and all these other guys. But if they draft a wide receiver in the first round at 31st overall, like
It's scary.
you've got a pretty low confidence rating or whatever that's actually going to work out and become a number one guy. It's like it's one thing for that guy to turn into Kayshon Boutte, but you need like a 1,500-yard receiver or at least a 1,200-yard receiver, and this isn't exactly known as the greatest wide receiver class either.
It's scary. It's just a little
Yeah.
scary. And I think I was doing a little talk show and they had Phil Perry's mock draft and he had the Texas A&M receiver. And it's
Casey
like
Concepcion.
fully makes sense as a good player, but it's like, do
Right.
you want to put all your eggs in the basket of a guy that you don't know? Like Kyle Williams is the best example, right? Because that was this regime,
Yeah.
and he had a number of skills and a number of assets coming out. I know you were high on him in the draft. What was the one knock? His hands were small.
Small hands, small body type too. He's only like 5'10", 5'11", 180 pounds. So yeah, not
Yeah.
like your typical body type for a number one wide receiver.
So the things you didn't know, not you, the general you, the
Mhm.
things you didn't know before that draft was, can he learn an NFL offense? Can he learn how to read NFL defenses? Can he
Right.
run, option routes? Can he get himself open against press coverage? Can he get himself open against zone
Yeah.
coverage? Like all these
Can he
things
be on the
that
same page as Drake May? Can he, and even like, does he have the power to beat NFL cornerbacks without just using his speed?
exactly. And the answer to a lot of that in year one was no. And neither of
Right.
us are saying Kyle Williams is a bust and will never have a
No.
good career. But you want to compete next year. You don't
Yeah.
want to. You don't want to necessarily put that high of a pick into a development prospect.
No.
And
Yeah.
like you look at last year's draft, right? Like everyone will say Ted McMillan worked out, but he was what, the 7th pick?
Right. Yeah.
8th. He was the 8th pick. And you go further down, like Ibuka with Tampa was very impactful. But I don't know. Once you get down to that's like Jaden Higgins was 34. Remember, like we
Right.
thought they would pick a receiver there when they picked Travion Henderson. So I don't know. Like maybe you get lucky and you get the AJ Brown at that part of
Yeah.
the draft, but that's a tough needle to thread.
It is a tough needle to thread, and I do think that there are elements of it that make it a little bit scarier now that Josh McDaniels is back at offensive coordinator, right? For all the good things about Josh McDaniels, I think he's the best guy to be bringing along Drake May. Obviously did an exceptional job with him. He improved the offense, leaps and bounds, but the offense is still then more complex than it is with other offensive coordinators, and you're asking a lot out of a rookie wide receiver to learn it. So I don't know. I mean, Mike Vrabel also said when he was asked about acquiring a number one wide receiver, because you don't really see them just walking along the street, he said you're not going to acquire them in free agency. But he did say, like, sometimes those guys take huge leaps between year one and year two. Then he was asked to follow up, like, wait, do you think that Kyle Williams could be a number one wide receiver? And then he kind of backtracked a little bit. But I did think that was interesting. That being said, though, like, he had 200 yards last year. He had, what, 3 touchdowns? And it's not as if the other wide receivers on the roster were, you know, Cooper Kupp and
It wasn't the Eagles.
Right. I was thinking of like the Rams teams a few years ago when they had like 3 elite. It's not like he had AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, and Jackson Smith and Jigba competing for snaps. Like, he's competing for snaps with Kayshon Boutte, who's a good player, Matt Collins, who easily could have been the 4th wide receiver.
And correct me if I'm wrong, like in camp, he was given plenty of reps, right?
Yeah, and he just all along never really did enough with them. And like when Vrabel was talking about, like, sometimes from year 1 to year 2, these guys take giant leaps. It's like, well, that didn't happen with Jalen Polk and it didn't happen with Javon Baker. I know those are guys that the Patriots didn't draft, but we've already seen one off season where those guys don't take leaps in year 2. And that's not to say that Kyle Williams is going to be traded for a 6th, 7th round swap or anything like that. But listen, he's closer to that right now than he is to being a number 1 wide receiver, right?
Yeah, and it's just when you're at 31, to me, that's a stab that is basically a 2nd round pick. And I look back, I don't know. You already mentioned the name, so I can say the N'Keal Harry year.
Right.
Like, that's a great example where late in the first you had Hollywood Brown at 25. I don't think that was a great pick. You had N'Keal Harry at 32.
Looked better than Harry for a while, but yeah, still.
Yeah, it hasn't panned out. Then you had Debo at 36, which panned out really well for a bit.
Right.
Not currently. AJ Brown at 51, Mecole Hardman at 56, JJ Arcega-Whiteside at 57, Paris Campbell at 59, Andy Isabella at 62, 2 spots before, of course, the last pick of the 2nd round, DK Metcalf. So it's like the 2nd round to me is that 50-50 crapshoot, which you're kind of at 31 anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to keep this train moving forward. I would rather use that towards someone like AJ Brown, because I don't think you're going to get anyone that impactful any other way.
No, and I guess there's a case to be made for take another swing on a wide receiver at 31, 62, or whatever it would be, 94, just to see if you can hit on that AJ Brown or DK Metcalf or whatever. But when you've now done that essentially already 3 times in the last 2 years, because Polk was a 2nd round pick, Javon Baker was a 4th round pick, and then Kyle Williams is a 3rd round pick. When you've already done that 3 times and none of those guys have really obviously become that guy, it makes it a harder sell to do it again, even though I might advocate for doing that. The other one that they could acquire with the 1st round pick is Maxx Crosby. And that's another one where Elliot Wolf was asked about it, I believe, but Mike Vrabel was not. It feels to me like the Raiders probably are not in a hurry to trade Maxx Crosby. So that might be one that could take a while if he does get moved. But once again, like, I would advocate for trading for AJ Brown. I would advocate for trading for Maxx Crosby, just because you're going to get a better player with that 31st overall pick than you will by taking by selecting someone out of the draft. And I do think that even though the Patriots got, exposed in the Super Bowl, there is still this window for them to be competitive on Drake May's rookie contract. And I mean, Maxx Crosby's a fantastic player, and the contract really isn't that bad to move or to acquire for him.
Yeah. Well, with Crosby, doesn't it feel like the Raiders are in the process of selling him on the Raiders, despite him being there for this time? Like, wait till free agency, wait till the draft. Like, we'll turn it around. We got a new coach, et cetera, et cetera. It feels like he might be open to listening.
Potentially. I mean, it is a lot different now. And I think things were really bad last year. And I think that things have been pretty bad. How many head coaches has he now been through?
That's a fair question. When did he
Because
get there?
he was with Gruden, McDaniels, Pierce,
Pierce.
Carroll. Yeah, so he's on his fifth head coach,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
and now
Since
Kubiak. Yeah,
2019.
was he? Yeah, he was drafted by
So Gruden.
Gruden and Mayock, right? Yeah,
Don't forget Rich Bisaccia. He was
right.
a
True.
legendary temporary coach who they got rid of for Josh McDaniels. Didn't work out. Then Pierce became that legendary interim coach that they hired, and that didn't work out. So
Isn't it kind of funny that when they had McDaniels, it was like, all right, he's got a long leash, he's got a long rope because
he had a
what's
5-year
his name?
contract.
Davis is cash poor.
Right.
There's no way that he's going to be paying. Mark Davis is going to be paying head coaches that no longer work for him. I guess that was kind of overblown because the guy is paying coaches on coaches on coaches on coaches on coaches to not coach for him.
So Gruden had a 10-year deal, famously, right?
I think so.
So that was 2018. So that's still going. McDaniels had a 5-year deal in 2022, theoretically still going. I don't know what kind of deals. Pierce presumably didn't sign a 2-year contract. So I'm sure he was paid this year. Carroll signed a 3-year contract, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, the Raiders are just a mess. They're run by a dork. You can see why they're so reliant on Tom Brady's existence.
I thought you might have been calling Tom Brady a dork.
He is a dork, but not in the way that Mark Davis is a dork, where it's just at least Tom Brady earned his spot in the world, whereas Mark Davis was born into it and actually kind of left it and came back and is just a dork. I don't know. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like one of the only owners with like a conscience.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was the only owner with that haircut because that would also be accurate.
That is also true. But I always felt like, interestingly enough, like he and the late Jim Irsay were always the ones that weren't afraid to be like, no, we should get like sexual predators out of the league or whatever. Like they were always the one to be like, bad stuff should be called out. Like they didn't, wasn't it Irsay that basically forced Dan Snyder's got that ball rolling? He was the first to publicly speak out.
Maybe, yeah.
So I'll give Mark Davis credit for being in that small fraternity. Yep. But in terms of running an operation, you can see why they're like, Tom Brady, save us. And guess what?
Yeah.
I'm not sure Tom Brady can save them.
It is interesting because I think the Raiders are one of the few teams that by having Tom Brady there are probably running their franchise correctly, because NFL owners, what do they know, about football most of the time? So you need some sort of team president who does know about football, who can oversee and run things. Yeah. But in most situations that just becomes the GM, and then the GM gets fired. So, but it's who is the perfect team president for a lot of these teams to actually know enough about football to be running things, who then won't get fired? It has to become this kind of minority owner like Tom Brady, or I guess the Falcons, Matt Ryan probably now just won't get fired. But I think that that's the future of the NFL, is to have that guy in place. And quite honestly, if there hadn't been egos and other things involved, Bill Belichick would have been the perfect guy to be that for the Patriots.
Right. Parcells did that for the Dolphins.
Move on from, you don't need to coach anymore. I'm tired of coaching, so now I'm just going to become the team president who knows what I'm doing, knows what I'm talking about. And Pete Carroll probably would have been the perfect guy to do that for the Seahawks. But with their ownership, John Schneider is kind of seemingly untouchable, so I don't think he's ever getting fired. So he can just kind of be that guy for their ownership. But yeah, it's teams need that step between ownership and head coach / GM. But I think owners don't really want to give up that power. They think they know more than they actually do. And there's usually not an ideal guy to own that role who won't get fired.
So it's a thoughtful point you make. Very thoughtful, which is what I say before I'm going to say I disagree. Because I feel like this is a team you're talking about that hired Mike Mayock to be their GM because they saw him on TV a lot. So
no, 100%. But Tom Brady wasn't in place at that point.
I know, but it's still the same owner, and I just feel like there's an element you should almost be used like a mascot if you have Tom Brady involved, like the way Jay-Z was with the Nets before he got into sports agency,
right?
Where it's he owned 0.8%, but was at every game, and they're like, oh, Jay-Z owns the Nets in Brooklyn. That's cool. I feel like you'd be better off because Tom Brady has 88 businesses he's trying to juggle. I
He
don't think
does, and,
he's.
and obviously the first regime he hired went about as poorly as you could possibly expect. Like
I
the
don't
Pete
know.
Carroll
Yeah,
thing went terribly.
yeah, and I don't know like how involved he was in that. It seems to be like he's more involved this year than last year, but
Right.
he was probably consulted at least. And I just compare it. It's not coaching, so he's not coaching. Like Ted Williams, the greatest hitter of all time,
Hmm.
right? He got into managing and he sucked at it
Right.
because sometimes
Oh yeah, yeah.
when you're the greatest at something and
Right.
you're around younger people that can't do what you could do,
Right.
you're just like, why can't you just do it? You know?
Yeah, and like and Tom Brady and even Matt Ryan for that matter, like there's no history that they know what to do around football outside of playing quarterback. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you do know the business when you're the quarterback. You're kind of a CEO anyway.
right.
But I don't know. John Elway obviously was successful for close to a decade at it,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a decent example. And like, I don't know, the Patriots obviously work better than most teams, but I don't think if you had that guy between ownership, GM, head coach, I don't think that guy hires Gerard Mayo, you know? So
Right.
even they could have used someone in that position in
Wow.
2024
Yeah.
who would have said like, no, this is crazy. We can't do this.
Right. Well, that was pretty crazy. I will say to interrupt, you got your 4 stories so far. We've done AJ Brown, we've done Maxx Crosby. I will interject with the headline I saw that Elliot Wolf handled the discipline under Gerard Mayo.
Oh yeah. That wasn't in the four, but
That's
that was certainly
crazy,
interesting.
bro.
I know.
That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
man, we try not to. This is not a Gerard Mayo podcast.
Right.
We try not to harp on it. He's a 86er, so he's got a little soft spot in
Hmm.
our hearts.
Yeah.
Happy 40th to Gerard. I think he turned 40 this week. I
Oh, is
think
he February?
yeah,
Interesting.
because my wife's is also around this time, so I remember noting that once.
Mm.
Happy 40th, Gerard. When you're the
Into
head
my
coach,
wife, into my wife Jen. She also turned 40 this month.
86 gang.
Yeah,
Tough year.
10 days ago.
Tough year for us who think we're 25 still.
Yep.
You're the head coach. You can't be the good cop. You can't push off discipline to the
Yeah.
personnel, man. That's crazy.
It really does feel like he was the guy who was like, so what do you do around here? It's like, all right, you're not calling defensive plays. You're obviously not calling offensive plays. You're not handing out discipline. I think, wasn't it also that like Elliot Wolf had to schedule like practices and stuff for them too? Didn't that come out like a year ago?
Probably,
it felt
yeah.
like he was
Even going back, remember the reports where like the last year of Belichick, when it became evident that he was the next in line, there were reports that he was like checked out in defensive meetings, and it was like Steve
Right.
Belichick would run them, and he would just sit there and play with his baseball bat or something.
not great, not a great situation. So another one of the storylines is
Number 3,
Stefon Diggs.
Stefon Diggs.
So if you're the Patriots and you owe Stefon Diggs $6 million in guaranteed salary on March 13th, and his hearing is on April 1st, and he's set to make $20.6 million in 2025, in 2026 in his salary, what do you do with Stefon Diggs?
I don't
it feels like this is not a guarantee that he's going to be here in 2026.
Yeah, I don't think he's someone you want to approach with a pay cut. He doesn't seem like someone who did everything you asked. Like I just keep going back to the relationship worked in 2025 for both parties. I think Stefon Diggs has value in the league. If you are to cut him, he's not screwed. He'll get a job. He won't make that salary. He'll make, I don't know, 15, which is more reasonable. I think if you could go to him and say, would you take 15? And he said yes, then everything would be great. But I don't see that happening. I feel like you'd get a rejection. You'd create an issue. I think you're better off getting out while you're ahead on that relationship than pushing it and straining it. Even if you can't, I'm actually at the point where even if you can't upgrade there, because
Yeah.
Diggs in the playoffs was a running back. You know,
Right.
he averaged under 8 yards per catch. He had a ton of catches. He had no yards. And the thing that is hard to replace, I've also settled on this because like we talk about like Alec Pierce, right? As a potential replacement in free agency. The asset that Stefon Diggs had above all else, I've come to land on were his hands.
Right.
There were so many catches he made. Like the one in Buffalo, that crazy one of Drake May rolling to his right up the sideline. That one, the touchdown in the playoffs against Houston. some of the hands catches he made were on another level where there's, I don't know, 12 people in the past 5 years that have had hands like that. But you can probably replace the rest of the skill set he brought with a number of people that might not. I don't know if you want to pay Alec Pierce all that money, if that's what we're talking about. But
I don't know if he even hits the market. It's like
good point.
Those wide receivers rarely do.
That's a good point. So I think you can replace a lot of it. Maybe not those hands. I would look to move on.
Yeah, it's tough because you don't know for certain that you're going to find someone who will get you 1,000 yards next year. But it wasn't necessarily like the prettiest or most consistent 1,000 yards out of Stefon Diggs.
Right.
Like, he was obviously extremely helpful, but there were as many games where he's getting like 30 yards as he is getting 100 yards. And that does tell you that you're still able to win, even if he's not getting you those 100 yards. I think for him, if you approach him and say like, hey, we'd like to lower your salary, like for him, he's like, well, I just had 1,000 yards coming off a torn ACL. Why would I do that? There's no benefit for him at that point to do that. And I don't know if another team is willing to pay him that $20 million. If they are, then you probably try to trade him rather than just straight up cutting him. But yeah, it worked out great for 1 year. You got to a Super Bowl. He was a great leader. There's just I feel like the chances of him reproducing what he did in 2025 are probably less than 50%, maybe next year.
I think he could recreate, like, I think he could reproduce most of it. But to your point, I was just doing some quick math. If you saw the pain in my face, 50 or fewer yards. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 regular season games and all 4 playoff games. So that's 14 games under 50, which leaves you with 7 over 50. Not necessarily boom or bust, but definitely a ton of games. Like, you could get 14 games of 50 or fewer yards from a ton of people.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's that high end where the Buffalo game stands out.
Mm-hmm.
The Baltimore game, he had 138 yards. Everything else was, the Jets game.
It
is what it is.
If Kayshon Boutte just gets his targets, if you just give that amount of targets to Kayshon Boutte instead of Stefon Diggs, I think Diggs is a better receiver, but I almost think that Boutte might wind up with more yards.
He might be better after the catch.
He was a better big, like, deep play threat this year.
It's just different. Like, I would look at it more as like Pop Douglas getting some of those inside ones, but it sounds like
he could get more, but I don't know. Listen, Pop Douglas, really fun player to watch, great guy. We've talked about it, I think, a bunch on this podcast, just like the history of wide receivers who are as short as he is pretty much non-existent production-wise. Like, it's Cole Beasley and no one else. So I think that the Patriots kind of used Demario Douglas the correct way last year and still got like 400 yards out of him. And I don't know if you can bank on getting more out of that.
Should have been 475 though, because of that bogus pass interference penalty in New Orleans. So
it's very true.
Let the record show.
You'd like there to be a better path to replacing that production, but even if there's not, it still might just be worth saying like, all right, we got a lot out of him, and let's move on and see what else we can.
It's also 4 touchdowns,
Right. Yeah.
It's just, everyone likes what he did. Everyone knows the importance of it, especially this year where you had Drake May take those huge steps. You don't want to derail that growth.
Right.
But it just feels like everything is set up for it to be a one and done. And I think, like I said, Diggs will have a market.
Yeah.
You're not leaving him out to dry. It just feels like you don't want to push it. You don't want to push it just for the sake of pushing it.
No, it's very true. All right. Before I get to my 4th point, let's talk about PrizePicks real quick, because you can shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. And that's right. PrizePicks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. PrizePicks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss out on this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. It's a good time to play PrizePicks, because if you download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS, you can get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Could see Jason Tatum making a return soon. Celtics are still hot despite the fact that Tatum hasn't been in there. What was it? The March 1st game, time got pushed back. It's on national TV. It's a fun time to be playing PrizePicks, especially when you're talking about the NBA. So, yeah, like I said, use code CLNS on PrizePicks. You get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup.
I agree.
Good.
I agree.
Perfect. Fourth point, Christian Barmore. Another one who doesn't seem like he's necessarily guaranteed to be a Patriot in 2026. And his contract is not quite as easy to get out of than Stefon Diggs, but if you trade him, you can free up $6.3 million. He's due a $12 million salary in 2026. If you cut him, $4.3 million. Cut him with a post-June 1 designation, $11.5 million. So, I don't know. I mean, the thing with Barmore is, like I said, due $12 million salary, plus $1.275 million in per game roster bonuses, plus a $225,000 workout bonus. Only $2 million of the $12 million is guaranteed. Did he produce in 2025 enough to earn $12 million last year? And do you think he's going to produce enough in 2026 to be worth $12 million? And are you willing to pay Milton Williams and Christian Barmore that amount playing the same position when you had a lot of success finding guys like Corey Durden or Leonard Taylor or Kairos Tonga who played well? I mean, Elliott Wolf mentioned on his own that there was a little bit of a lull for Christian Barmore midway through last season. I think he only had like one quarterback hit over many weeks. Picked it up a little bit picked it up quite a bit in the postseason, but really hasn't been the player over the last 2 years that he was in 2023 when he earned that big contract. And is that money better spent on free agency or acquiring a guy like AJ Brown or Maxx Crosby? Thoughts?
So when you asked the question, I was going to answer it through the scope of what Elliott Wolf said, which sounds like maybe not. Sounds like maybe not. Is he worth it? Because you tell me, wasn't the question about his, I don't know, maturity or growth or something to that extent? And it went into like, well, when we didn't have Milton, there was a little bit of a lull or something like that.
Right.
So it did feel a little unprompted from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking now just at base salary for 2026. You have Milton Williams leading the team at $21 million.
Yeah.
And then you have Barmore fifth at $12 million. I don't know how many teams are dedicating $33 million to the defensive tackle spot on two guys.
I know.
It feels like a lot.
Yeah, it does. And $12 million isn't, like, obviously in this day and age that much. But if you can't depend on him on a week-to-week basis, and obviously there's off-field stuff with him as well, at what point do you just say, like, all right, that wasn't, we got 2 years out of it. He got us to a Super Bowl. Let's see if we can find someone who would be interested in acquiring him via trade or something.
And it also depends what you're doing other than that. Like, you're not going to cut him just to cut him. Like, if you're going to run it back and you can't get a big-time edge rusher or Maxx Crosby or whatever, then you probably keep him because there's just as much penalty as there is benefit for getting rid of him.
Yes.
However, that quote definitely stood out. It is one of the few that I did catch this week where you're it did raise an eyebrow on how the organization felt about his year. And I just checked. We know PFF grades are not an end-all be-all. Have you seen his PFF grades for this year?
Yeah, not great. Like the pass rush grades are pretty decent, but the run defense grades are bad. Yeah.
Like his overall grade was 51.7, ranking him 91st out of 134 interior defensive linemen. His pass rush grade, he was 35th, which is still like, I don't know. You're not technically a starter if you're the 35th best interior pass rusher.
Right.
And run defense, he was second to last, 133 out of 134. he graded out against the run. So I don't know. I don't think you go to him. I don't even think you can go to him and talk about a pay cut.
No,
He just signed a
that's
deal.
right. He just signed a deal 2 years ago, and he's still a young player. I think that's probably a tradable asset, but any team that would be acquiring him would obviously want to know what's going on with his legal situation before they acquire him.
But you're also, if you trade him, taking on a pretty hefty dead cap hit of
Yeah.
$10.8 million this year. So it's like he's only, I mean, his number is 17. You're only saving a hair and you're losing a pretty
Well,
good player.
so if
You're
they
saving
trade
6 million.
him,
It's a
yeah,
10.8 dead cap hit.
right, and they save $6.3 million in cap space, so
Which
you
is like
save half
not
of it.
nothing, but
Right.
it is a pretty big loss if you do it just to do it. So I don't know. It didn't sound like the organization is overly thrilled with him in that regard.
Well, I will say that people around the league also saw the press conference or not the press conference, but the scrum that he had after the legal situation came to light, and he was just, angrily saying, "I'm focused on football," whatever it was. Um, People saw that around the league, and I don't know how excited they would be to work with him after something like that. But he's a talented player, still has upside. I could see him getting traded to a team like, let's say, like the Eagles, and them getting the best out of him.
What about the Raiders?
Potentially, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like the Patriots, it's funny because like Diggs and Barmore do still feel like they're tradable assets. So if the Eagles and Raiders are serious about potentially trading Crosby and Brown, of which, I mean, that's the thing about AJ Brown is that the contract does exist that makes it really hard to do. But I think Roseman said like we're always listening. So it's not
Sure.
like he got up there and said like, "Have you idiots seen his contract? It's completely unmovable."
Right. Yeah.
And that would have been a pretty easy out, even beyond just saying like, "No, we want to keep working with the player."
Right.
I don't know. But
I
yeah,
want to look up to the Eagles cap space currently. Do you go by cap space or effective cap space?
I don't know, cap space.
18 million. So they're not exactly equipped to take on a $43 million dead cap hit.
I know. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's very true. So the Patriots currently have $42.6 million in cap space. Not bad. They rank like 10th or something like that. But that's the other thing here is that like if anyone is expecting the Patriots to have an off season where they're signing as many guys as they did last year, I think you're gonna be like sorely mistaken or
Yeah.
sorely
Well,
disappointed.
they blew up the roster last year.
Right. And they had the cap space available to do that, and they don't this year. So they said that they expect Morgan Moses back. They say that they expect Harold Landry back. They wouldn't go so far as to say they expect Stefon Diggs back in the same breath. So it's not like they're cutting all of the guys that they just signed to free up cap space to sign more guys. I think there's also not really a Milton Williams out there in free agency this year.
Yeah. I mean, who's the best pass rusher? Either OA or Hendrickson, if you still believe in him. I'm
Right.
not sure where you stand there. I have a question for you because I texted you last night and you didn't respond. I said, "Are you going to get the scoops?" So hit me with some scoops. What are you hearing? Like, what's the scuttlebutt on some of these free agents? On like, there's got to be some hushed whispers out there in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've been a little more focused on Patriots centric things, which I've been already kind of talking a little bit about, like I was just saying about the free agent class and stuff like that. Not the most buzz around players this year. It does feel like just around the NFL, like the Browns quarterback situation. I know that's not the most exciting thing, but like Deshaun Watson feels like he could actually start again this year. As nuts as that sounds,
I remember him.
isn't that crazy though? How many
It's been a
seasons
while.
has he played since his last season with the Texans? Like one?
Like total, if you add it all up, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. There was a point early in his career where he could just put the ball anywhere he wanted and
Right.
also run away from anyone he wanted. And also just, he was looking like the next great quarterback. And then for a multitude of reasons that has derailed, but yeah,
So
he
he
started
sat
16
out
games in 2020 and he's played 19
19.
games since.
He sat out the 2021 season, and then he's played 6 games, and 7 games, and missed the entire 2025 season. Um, in those 3 years in Cleveland, he has an 80.7 passer rating. And he's surprisingly 9-10. He was 5-1 as a starter in 2023. I don't remember that.
I'm just gonna question the record books on that one. I think they got that one wrong.
They did go 11-6 that year. Flacco went 4-1.
Oh, that was when Kevin Stefanski was your coach of the year.
Watson went 5-1. PJ Walker went 1-1. Dorian Thompson-Robinson went 1-2. Jeff Driscoll went 0-1. You know what? I'm still giving him the coach of the year for that because he had 5 different starting quarterbacks and went 11-6. That's wild.
Hell yeah, way to go, Kevin. You
now
did it,
with
buddy.
now with the Falcons, Kevin Stefanski.
Sure, absolutely.
And now the Browns head coach is Todd Monken.
If you say so. You know what? Wait till the coaches picture at the owners meetings. That's when I'll catch up and I'll be like, who is that?
I know that we probably maybe spoke about this at the time, maybe not. Like on paper, fire Kevin Stefanski and hire Todd Monken, like that's a downgrade, right?
Probably. But
when you fire Kevin Stefanski, you got to know that you're 100% upgrading. And I don't believe they did.
One area where I feel like I have to give the Jets credit is they were at least smart enough. Like Aaron Glenn should have been fired. That was a mess.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They were smart enough to be like, all right, so there's 10 openings this year. We could be 11, or there was 9 or 10. I forget.
There was 10.
There were 10 openings. And it's like, if we fire our coach, we will be the 11th most desirable place for the applicants. And there's no way we could get a good coach in that. And then you're just resetting it. So I think that was at least a little bit smart in the year. So I'm thinking if the Jets would have been the last destination, where do the Browns rank in that? Pretty low, I would say.
Pretty low. I mean, the Cardinals, I think, were the lowest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They might have even been lower than the Jets.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, there's an appeal at least with the Jets. You know, Fireman Ed, the nice parking lots of the Meadowlands, all that. There's a lot of nice stuff out there.
People have been talking about Malik Willis. Seems like he could get paid a decent amount.
He's the number 1 free agent on NFL.com's list.
Yeah, and he's like way lower on a lot of other lists. But like, I actually NFL league wide, the quarterback situations are pretty fascinating. Where like a team like the Steelers, it's like, do you just run it back with Aaron Rodgers? Do you sign Malik Willis? Do you roll with Will Howard as your starting quarterback? Do you get Tua, Kyler?
Can you help me with something? I watch a lot of football, but this old noggin of mine, not as receptive as it used to be. You know, like I could talk about the 2005 season all day long. Week 7, what happened then?
Sure.
I'm sure Malik Willis had some starts in prime time, right? Or he's only started 6 games in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's thrown 155 passes. What am I forgetting in the Malik Willis experience that makes him this hot selection in free agency and makes him think that Dan Orlovsky think that Malik Willis could have beaten the Texans in the playoffs?
Sorry, I muted myself. It is interesting because he was 0-1 as a starter for the Packers last year, but he played 4 games and he completed 85.7% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 145.5 passer rating, 93.1 QBR, is also a great runner, 22 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a really impressive tiny run last year. And he played well in 2024 as well. I mean, like, since joining the Packers, he's completing almost 80% of his passes, and he's got a 134.6 passer rating. So it does seem like he's taken a pretty sizable leap. Feels like he's the best backup in the NFL, and he's got legitimate traits as a runner. So I think that's it, but it's also a huge risk if you're going to pay him whatever it is, like $20-25 million a year, whatever he's going to make.
Yeah, especially when it seems like the running is a big appeal. Like, I don't know, can't that just be you're the backup and teams aren't necessarily geared toward defending that? And
but there's so many teams this year who need new quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this is Pat's chat and not NFL chat, but like the Cardinals are probably going to need a new quarterback. The Dolphins, the Steelers, um, possibly the Falcons. Like if they don't believe in Michael
Yikes!
Penix, um,
Yikes!
you got just
Did
going through the
they?
list. Like the Browns, if we're talking about Deshaun Watson as being a potential starter, then obviously they're on that list. You've got the Raiders. No, they'll have Mendoza, so that's fine.
You
Yeah,
think so?
Dolphins, Vikings. Like, who's their quarterback going to be next year? You know, is it going to be
Yeah,
JJ McCarthy?
I wouldn't.
Um,
I wouldn't have it. I just
Saints
wasted
and
a whole
Giants seem
year.
like Jet. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there's a
the
lot. He'll
the
get. Yeah,
Jets,
I guess I was confused. Like I was missing. Like
Steelers.
I do remember when Joshua Dobbs started for the Titans and had that little run, and everyone went a little nuts. I just don't remember like Malik Willis mania.
Right.
That
It is interesting that with Willis, like it ended at the right time where like the wheels couldn't fall off. And maybe they never would have fallen off, but it's such a small sample size for him that it is obviously pretty scary if you want to give him a lot of money. And
five starts, and he's thrown a touchdown in three of them. One single touchdown.
yeah, and that is the other scary thing is that the Packers are a team that's set up for good quarterback play, it feels like. But
Yeah.
you did get to see him on the Titans,
He
and it was
also
not nearly as pretty.
so he started the Saturday night game after Christmas this year.
Mm-hmm.
They got blown out. I watched. I obviously maybe I ate too much beef that week that my memory is affected, but I don't know the Tyler Huntley Malik Willis showdown. You know what? I don't know. I don't get it. Good luck to
I mean, he
whoever
played
signs him.
well in that game. It was their defense did not help
Yeah.
things
Good luck
matters,
to
but
him. Good luck to him. I'm not
and then
rooting
he
against
filled
him.
in very well for Love against the Bears, but they lost that game too.
It just felt like one of those like I felt like I was in a dream where everyone knows what's going on and I don't. So I just wanted to be caught up. Thank you.
I will also say that I would have on the surface, I would have guessed that he started way more than one game last year.
Mhm.
It felt like Jordan Love was hurt for like 5 weeks.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I know someone else started a game because Willis got banged up.
It
Yeah,
was.
Clayton Tune started and looked terrible. So
Yeah.
that I guess is another mark in favor of Malik Willis, where you did have another guy start who
Yeah.
looked nothing like Malik Willis out there.
I
And
for
Malik Willis
one.
even he was more efficient than Jordan Love in his limited playing time. So I'm not advocating for someone to pay Malik Willis a bunch of money, but when your other options are Tua and Kyler and Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins and all these other guys and JJ McCarthy and Michael Penix, it's like, I don't know. Maybe you just give him that like Justin Fields contract if that's what it takes, or maybe a little bit more than that, and take a risk and see if you found a guy, you know?
Fun fact for you. It's the fun fact of the week. Clayton Tune, hometown of Carrollton, Texas. Same hometown of Christian Gonzalez.
Ah, there we go.
Is
Wow.
he going to get a big deal? Did anyone ask about that?
That's the other thing.
That number 5 on your four big stories.
That's number 5 on the big stories. Yeah, I mean, he's going to become whenever he gets paid, he's going to become the highest paid cornerback in the NFL, and deservingly so. People think that he took another elite forward last year. Mike Vrabel among them, Elliott Wolf among them, people around the league. He's impressed a lot of people, and I think the Patriots would be really smart to give him that contract, because if their goal is to draft and develop, who better to sign and develop and sign to a long-term contract than Christian Gonzalez? I don't think those skills are going away anytime soon. And it feels like they're bought into the person as well. Mike Vrabel said that Gonzalez strives to be a captain, which, listen, he doesn't have the traditional personality for a captain. But I think that's a good sign that he wants that leadership role on the team.
And I know that of course, captains are voted by players, and coaches never put their thumb on any scales in that. I wonder if that was sort of a test to see how he responded to that not being a captain this year. I did note in one of those mic'd up videos for the Super Bowl, he led the little defensive back huddle.
Yeah.
Wasn't exactly Devin McCourty, screaming, sweating bullets,
Right.
emotionally charging everyone up. but at least he's not being someone else. He's at least being himself. But I there was, I guess, question in that first few weeks of the year when the hamstring injury had kept Gonzalez out at that point, 8 weeks?
Right.
Where
Something like that, yeah. It's like, what's going on here? Right.
Yeah, is there a conflict? Like, is Vrabel going to be upset with the player? Is the player going to be upset with the coach, et cetera? It does seem as though the year went on, there were no issues whatsoever.
No, and I will say one interesting thing, and I don't know what to make out of this, but I do at least want to say it, is that Vrabel does seem like he's gone out of his way to say positive things about Christian Gonzalez over the last, let's call it, month. Because even heading into the Super Bowl, he said, like, yeah, I've noticed a different Christian Gonzalez over the last few weeks. Elliot Wolf was saying that he took a huge step forward. Mike Vrabel saying that he's striving to be a captain, all these things. He's not necessarily doing that about like other star players or other top players on the roster. So I'm not sure if that's the way that he's choosing to motivate or whatever other word you want to use Christian Gonzalez, or if like that's the tactic to use with him, or maybe they're just saying like, hey, we want to keep working with you. How about you sign a deal with us this offseason and take this deal? I'm not sure what the motivation is to do that. And maybe he just feels strongly about how Christian Gonzalez performed and stepped up over the playoff run and late in the season. But it is a little bit different than how he talks about other guys.
Yeah. And he had one bad snap in the playoff run, which went all the way to the Super Bowl, which was probably the best game of his career against the best receiver in the NFL. So I don't know. That's something
showed his value in that game big time. Yeah.
For sure, Doug. For sure. What's your plan going forward this week? What else do you want to get out of it? What scoops are we gonna get?
Gonna kind of keep collecting info for a big story that Andrew and I will be writing at the end of the week.
Is it going to be the big like you did last year? Oh, Doug's coughing.
I was coughing. It'll be similar. Like I don't think we're going to have a full blueprint for the off season.
There was more of a new guy. Meet the new guy. Here's what's going on.
Well, it was also last year. There was much more of an off season. Like they started their off season like a week ago. I don't know if they even have their full plan in place at this point. And they just have much less to work with cap wise, but we'll certainly have a lot of information in that end of week article. I'm here until Saturday. I might leave on Friday. We'll see where the world takes me over the next few days. But yeah, I mean, it's a week where you hang out in hotel lobbies and stay out late. I was out until like, I think 3 a.m. last night, which
that blows.
I'm never doing like 5 a.m. again. That's not going to happen.
3 a.m. is 5 a.m. at this age, Doug. I don't know how to tell you that.
So there's not a lot to do in the mornings here. So you can sleep in a little bit, but even still, like, unless you're waking up at noon, you're going to be getting less than 8 hours of sleep, you know?
Yeah. I'm a big watching guys run in their underwear guy, obviously. So I'm getting ready for that. I just love. Remember the year the receivers all ran like the fastest 40s of all time, and then the next day they were like, "Wait a second,
whoops, yeah."
Tyquan
Thornton year. That was the Tyquan Thornton year.
Who else was in that? Sky Moore, I feel like ran a fast one. Is that right?
Yeah,
same year.
Yeah. People at the hotel lobbies were like watching the TVs, being like, "Oh my god!" And then they were all fake.
It's a fun night on Twitter. You don't have many of those anymore, but all right.
Maybe I'll try to watch the workouts this year. I haven't done that in a few years because I'll usually get home and be like, I don't want to deal with the combine anymore. But I have to kind of learn these guys a lot more than I did in the past.
Well, they also made it a primetime event, and if I can tell you one thing, that is not primetime TV. It's guys.
Is it still primetime?
I don't know. I haven't watched in a long time because of that very reason. Not that I have a lot going on at night, but it's more of a Saturday morning with your coffee. Oh, there's an offensive lineman running. Sure, that makes sense type of thing.
Do you know what's nonsensical to me? There's a few things that are nonsensical to me. First of all, team interviews with these players go from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's just unfair to the players because then they have to wake up early. The thing that's truly weird to me, so Fernando Mendoza is going to be the number 1 pick in this year's draft. He talks on Friday at 8 a.m. Why is he talking at 8 a.m.? You'd think like if you're pushing the workouts to prime time and you're worried about TV and that, Wouldn't you want Fernando Mendoza's press conference to be at like 11 or noon? Show it live on ESPN? You're having it at 8 a.m.? 8 a.m.? Who is that for?
Yeah, it's a fair question.
And he's like an interesting personality. He's someone that you actually kind of want to watch talk.
He's not throwing, is he? They never throw. Why would
They never throw? They never throw. The thing that drives me crazy too is that the quarterbacks never run at all anymore. So basically from here on out, unless something dramatic changes, you're just never going to have a 40-yard dash time for a quarterback again, probably.
I bet Clayton Tune threw.
Probably.
I bet he did. I bet he threw.
He might have run too.
He probably ran. Yeah, you'll never get the Tom Brady 40 ever again. It's unfortunate.
No. Drake May. You never know what that 40 is.
I think we're past, so I can bring up and ask if you saw the biggest news in middle-aged man history dropped yesterday. Did you catch it? It's a certain residency taking place at a certain Sphere in Las Vegas.
No, I didn't.
Metallica will be invading the Sphere for October.
Oh my God.
And I got to tell you, I think I got to go.
Wow.
You know, it would help to secure like full-time employment before making plans to go to Vegas. But assuming tickets aren't like obnoxious, they had a travel package. Tell me this. Am I crazy for thinking this isn't that nuts? Because they're doing Thursday and Saturday shows for the month of October. And they do that no repeat thing. So 2 separate set lists, Thursday and Saturday. Both shows, you get a ticket. 3 nights at the Venetian, which is attached to the Sphere or right next to it. $1,077.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
Like a room is probably, I don't know. People probably don't pay full rate in Vegas, but like $200 a night at least at the Venetian, which is a nice hotel.
Yeah. No, that's actually not bad.
And then you're getting tickets for $200 a pop.
That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Okay. I didn't know if I was missing something. You run into problems when you have to eat and drink water. Like that's when you're going to really feel the drain on your bank account.
But no, I think that's a good deal. I got tickets for Bruce Springsteen. Those were only $100 a pop, which I was pretty shocked by.
At the Garden.
At the Garden.
Oh, I thought those were going to be a lot more than that.
I'm in like the 300 level, but I didn't really want to spend more than that.
Right.
With him, it's like it could always be his last tour, so you don't want to take any risks.
You never know. I want to bring that up with you because you're like me. You're used to seeing bands for like $30 at the House of Blues, well, at Avalon, and then the House of Blues. Like anything more than that, anything more than that feels like crazy. And I know things change, so if it's like 45, you're like, all right, well, whatever.
Right.
So Thrice, the greatest band ever of all time in rock and roll history, they're opening for Jimmy Eat World at the MGM in Boston.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go. I'm not like a huge Jimmy Eat World fan, but everyone likes Jimmy Eat World to a certain extent, right? Yeah. Who doesn't want to listen to The Middle or Sweetness? Yeah. You know, like Jimmy Eat World rocks. So I go to buy tickets in the presale, and the floor at MGM was $85.
Damn.
And the seats were like $120.
Wow.
To start, like in the 300s, and like $140. I'm like, wow, that's too much. So I was just crazy. Like, I was like, I'll wait and I'll go buy them when they go on public on sale and like at least save the $40 on fees.
Right. And
they sold out.
Wow.
And I'm like,
no way.
So I don't know if Jimmy Eat World's bigger than I imagined. I did see like on Reddit threads.
Jimmy Eat World was on that Offspring tour, right?
Not sure. Were they?
I think they.
Well, so you know what it is? This is one of those nostalgia tours. It's like the 20th anniversary of Bleed American, I think.
Right.
And those sell, like even Thrice, when they play the House of Blues, they don't even sell the second level. When they did the Artist in the Ambulance, the place was packed. Like so people love those 20-year nostalgia 100%. Tours. But damn, 85.
Might be 25 for Bleed American.
I think you're right. 2001. Yeah. I think one thing they should offer, I would agree. Like if you're a Jimmy Eat World fan and you buy that ticket, can I be your proxy and I'll watch Thrice? And I guarantee you I'll walk out and you can walk in. Because like a lot of people.
I like that idea.
A lot of
like
people,
a third the price. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me give you $30.
Yeah.
I get to see the best band in the world. I'll leave. You get your Jimmy Eat World. Yeah. And everyone leaves happy. Like it just feels like a waste because when you want to see the opener more than the headliner and it's $85, it's a tough spot. But then I'm talking about Metallica for $1,000. So
it's true. I right before this podcast, moments before this podcast, I was a little bit late to this podcast because I ran into our friend Sam Monson. Talked to him. I finally said to his face, I was like, I think it's funny that you went from being the Tom Brady guy. Everyone finally forgot that. And now you're the Justin Herbert guy. Also, though, PFF, according to Arif Hassan, being sold. for 130, 140 million dollars, something like that. It's a lot of money for the amount that company, I believe, brings in. But
What do you know
will
about
be
their
interesting to
finances?
see. Will be interesting to see what happens with the, I guess, consumer side of PFF.
Mm.
Hopefully, it stays in business because it would be a little difficult to cover the NFL without doing something that you did on this very podcast and cite PFF grades.
It's a nice
So
little when you have a position that isn't stat heavy,
yeah,
or a corner that doesn't get thrown at a lot, or
right.
a
You like
guard
to know coverage stats, yeah.
like,
And like
like
there's other sites now that do coverage stats and some of these other things, but PFF is still one that does kind of the all-encompassing thing. And I have used PFF since I started covering the NFL. I think the first year I used it was 2011 when Richard Sherman was a rookie. I don't know why I remember that specifically, just because he was really good on there. But
yeah.
it would be strange to do this job without anything from PFF. So hopefully they can figure out how to still keep that on the up and up.
I agree. I have a pop culture thing to drop on you. You
Sure.
probably missed it because you were schmoozing and rubbing elbows.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great American sitcoms of all time came back last night. Scrubs is back.
Wow, I've never
Scrubs.
watched Scrubs.
Oh, Scrubs. And it's back, and it's like it never left. Scrubs.
Wow.
And it's like there was a new Scrubs at one
Are they
point.
still wearing scrubs?
Still wearing, well, not to spoil anything, but JD's wearing a suit a lot of times now.
Oh,
But they had new Scrubs in, like, I don't know, 09, where they went to
Yeah.
ABC, and new Scrubs was kind of meh.
Mm,
New Scrubs, we're back. Scrubs is back.
nice. That's
We're back.
huge.
Yeah.
I wish I cared more for you. But that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I went to Disney World.
Yeah.
We could do a minute on Disney World. When we went to Epcot, we rode Guardians not once, not twice, but 3 times.
How'd you do all three?
We park hopped. Olivia and I did.
Yeah.
Jen had to get ready. She had to do her thing. So we got to Epcot on the Skyliner. I think like early entry was at 8:30. We probably got there around like 8:20 or so. Rushed over to
Ooh, that's tough
Guardians.
that's tough from the Skyliner.
It's a far walk, but Olivia's a trooper. So we did that, and that wait was like 30 to 40 minutes.
Not bad.
We also bought the Lightning Lane.
Okay.
So that wait was much shorter. And then after that one, Olivia was like, I want to go on it again. I was like, listen, kid, if you're willing to go on that right before the park closes, then I'm also willing to do it. Let's do this together. We're in this together.
Late, doesn't it?
Park closes at 9, so not terrible. We got in line around 8:50. That one took a little bit longer because the ride broke down midway through the line. So
Which at that point
added,
you're risking see you later. Bye.
right, you're just not going to reopen at that point. The other issue is that when you're in line at 9 p.m. at Epcot, there's a lot of people who've been drinking around the world. So there are drunk women in line trying to talk to Olivia and asking her if she wants to play a game, and Olivia kind of awkwardly looks up at me and is like, "Save me, Dad," and then I have to save her.
Can I just make a PSA for anyone? If
Yeah.
you are going to ride any ride in the world drunk,
Yeah,
don't make it that one.
yeah,
Oh my God.
it's pretty spinny.
I got off
but
that for the first time, and I was like, did that go upside down? Like, I don't know. I don't know what just happened. So I would not even have a sip of alcohol before that.
It's true. And then so it took a while, and we get out of the line, we get off the ride around like 10:15, 10:20, and then I go, oh shit, the Skyliner is only open until 10:30. So I was like, kid, get on my back. We're running to the Skyliner. And then it's like, all right, kid, you got to run in those Crocs because I can't run with you the whole way. We got to the Skyliner at like 10:28, got on it, got back. So
were you nervous that they were just gonna like leave you up there, like, all right, everyone's down, and then you're up there all night?
No, not as worried about that, but certainly worried that we were going to have to like take an Uber back to the Caribbean Beach Resort or something.
Do they not have buses for the Skyliner resorts?
They do, but I don't know if it would pick us up near the Skyliner.
No, it would be the front.
So then
Just a couple Disney guys.
Yeah. So I don't know what we would have done. Maybe we probably would have had to take an Uber, but we didn't have to, so that was great. Otherwise, though, family members were kind of intermittently sick throughout the trip, but all went off pretty well. Did Animal Kingdom, did Magic Kingdom, did Hollywood Studios. right now, there's like barely enough to do at Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios for a full day.
Well, you must not be a Star Wars guy then, because
No, I
like,
am.
oh, you did the Star Wars and the Toy Stories
Yeah.
and the the
There's
the,
just
the elevator one.
there's a lot of dead time. Olivia doesn't do Tower of Terror, but so
Can
that
I
helped
tell
a
you
little bit.
something? Can I tell you something personal about Tower of Terror?
Sure.
I rode that one by myself because no one in my family wanted to, so they were eating, and I walked up there, did the lightning lane or whatever. The pressure when you drop was fully concentrated on my butthole. It felt like the entire weight of that ride was in that one spot, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Like, is that
How,
normal? Is
how
that
did they
like
concentrate that? Yeah.
I don't know?" But I was like,
Yeah.
"That's weird." Didn't know that was going to be the case because it drops real fast.
It does. It does. They pull you down faster than gravity.
It's true.
Yeah.
Science, baby.
So that's a interesting fact about Tower of Terror. But no, we did a lot of shows that day because it was just like, well, we're not going to go back because Jen was meeting us there at 3 o'clock. She had to work that day. So we did like
Animal
the Little
Kingdom,
Mermaid
though,
show.
you can
We
like chill
did.
at Animal Kingdom. You can like relax and
Yeah.
walk around.
We got to Animal Kingdom around like 9. It was a torrential downpour. We had to wait that out. But we left around 2 and we did the safari. We did Everest. We did both Avatar things. And we saw some animals. We saw the tiger.
There's only like 6 rides, so
That's kind of all there is. There's even like less than that
there's
right
less
now.
because they closed that area.
Dinosaurs gone.
I
So, but
I
overall, it was a fun trip.
I like the Animal Kingdom the best because it was the least like on your app programming the day.
Yes,
Like you had a
Yeah.
few things, you had a
Yeah.
couple shows, and they
Yeah.
had good food, which is interesting because you'd think they'd be like,
Right.
these are the animals,
yeah.
you should love them, but it was like, I'm gonna eat them.
Did you eat at Satuli Canteen, the Avatar restaurant?
No, I ate somewhere. It might have been. Is there a Harambe restaurant?
Harambe Market? Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a great pita filled with beef. It was like, this
Nice.
is actual food. I think we got
No, it's
vegetables.
we
Crazy.
started the trip with Ohana when we arrived, which is all you can eat. And then we did Woody's Roundup Barbecue the next night, which is all that you can eat. And then the next morning we did the like Crystal Palace all you can eat breakfast. And after that I was like, I'm eating salads the entire rest of this time because I
Can't
can't
get a
do this to
salad
myself
there.
again.
There's no such thing.
So at Hollywood Studios, there was like a hot honey chicken salad. That was good. At in Animal Kingdom at Satuli Canteen, I got a salad, which was good. I think I got one other salad too.
Hard to find.
sometime.
A
Hard to find,
PSA,
but they were pretty decent, honestly.
if you want to eat anything green and you're going to Disney World, pack it yourself, grow it in a planter. Like if you want green beans or broccoli, you better be at one of those like $90 princess dinners because other than that, you're eating fried. I like at Disney World too. They're like, this comes with French fries, and you're like, but I don't want any.
Right,
more
I don't
French
need them. I don't need the French fries.
fries. I
Yeah,
got 11 pounds of French fries in 2 days.
Right.
Like I'm good. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's good. I'm glad you got a little break. Not really a break though.
One other thing though, Epcot, it was hard to get lightning lanes for Frozen, Test Track, and Remy. So we had Frozen to begin with, and then I had to do a ton of refreshing to get Test Track and Remy. So it's a little touch and go there to get all those. Test Track is new now. It's still not the greatest ride in the world, but it was fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Kids
Yeah.
like it. It's fine.
All
I
right,
haven't been on the new one.
we've done like 20 minutes on Disney World, so I think
Now we're
we
going to
gotta
get
out of
into
here.
Team USA and all the politics and the
Yes,
interweaving of it
yeah.
all. So
And we'll get
down.
to that right after our break. Well, just kidding. All
many
right.
days.
So
Well, one thing before we go
Yeah.
on that like, all right, the hockey won the gold, right? Did you watch? You're a big
I
hockey boy.
couldn't. I was
Damn. Disneying.
in Orlando. Yeah.
Well, it's a big deal and everything, but the real where the real boys come out, the World Baseball Classic starting up pretty soon.
Oh
so
yeah.
the baseball boys will be live blogging every game, every pitch from
The season
Florida.
starts in less than a month.
It's March 25th, right?
Yes, that's wild.
Yeah, it's dumb. Baseball doesn't belong in March, but what are you going to do? It takes a long
I'm
time.
psyched about it. Okay, well, subscribe, rate, review, do all those fun things. We'll be back with you guys again sooner than we were this time. Maybe we'll do one on like Monday to do a full combine recap. But until then, we will talk to you guys later. Goodbye.